Def, but here we are then, straight into it. Top 8 teams here in the Vitality Invitational. G2 versus Fabriken, and it is going to be LATEKS here pushing forward. Mixwell is going to be on defense. It's going to be G2 defending, but he goes down to the boom bar, and that is not the way you want to start this one. That's going to be a 4 versus 5 pushing onto the site. Spike goes down, and this is a very early plant here. Zyppan takes one onto ardiis, and now it's a 5 versus 3 in the early stages. Very quick entry on the pistol round.
Yeah, very, very quick. pyth actually going to pick up Zyppan down on triple there, but again, the post-plant setup here from Fabriken is actually super strong. I don't expect them to break this right now. You see the molly coming out to deny the plant. And actually now we're going to try and get some spam through, but again, without getting a pick off early enough here, I don't think they've got the time really to play around this defuse there.
Well, wall does go up, and they will tap it to see if they can get it. Can they stop the defuse though? Is there going to be anyone? No, paTiTek's going to go down. Pyth falls as well, and that is going to be a perfectly executed pistol round for the boys
Really
of
well
Fabriken. They were just so quick onto that site. As soon as they got that initial pick with the pistol, they didn't really have to worry too much. Plant was easy, and then post-plants were even better, really.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the pick coming off from the boom bar out of Showers was an unfortunate first set to come down, but like you said, the entry was pretty much free at that point out of Showers. And obviously, again, planting on triple there, it's super hard to retake because usually you only have to worry about one side of the site. But I mean, in that situation, you've got so many other factors to worry about.
Well, now what should be comfortable second round. A couple of SMGs, a Bulldog to work with as well for Zyppan. Meddo gets the opener onto Mixwell. Mixwell's just trying to catch someone off guard in the shower. It's not going to work out. Boombot is going to try and do its damage once again. But this time, paTiTek at least is going to be able to survive that one. Smoke will go down to try and survive here at Hookah. But this should be an easy round for them. I don't think Fabriken have to worry about pushing anything too quickly here, especially after getting that early pick.
No, they've shown presence over towards Hookah here. The 3-stack inside there. You can see Cypher still. He's going to come in and challenge there. pyth going to get shut down by Meddo outside Showers, and now that should be the go signal for them. They've got the information that was over at Hookah now. Free site execute again. Spike will go down to the truck. And now, again, a very difficult retake here, especially considering the utility at their disposal.
Yeah, ideally just want to do a little bit of damage to the economy here, see if they can
That's
1 or 2 on the exits. A decent dink there from ardiis. With the classic, I mean, I don't know how people do that with the classic. I certainly can never hit shots with it, let alone do any damage.
Mine does not shoot that straight, I tell you.
Definitely doesn't. Maybe if they get a pick, they could go for it, but I think they knew at this point they weren't going to be able to get any sort of defuse. No. Instead, they're hoping for some exits, but quite rightly, Fabriken have all exited the same way. A little bit of damage was done to them in terms of health, but they haven't lost any guns, which means they go into this third round with a healthy total of cash, but it's always going to be that weird third round decision of, do you just kind of push and use the SMGs that you've had from round 2, or do you force up? Usually, we just see teams kind of keep what they have and maybe sometimes even sacrifice the third round.
Yeah, I mean, Fabriken, obviously, they got 3 armor purchases to worry about there, so I'm expecting them to stick. Again, the 4-buy going to come out from G2. And again, we might actually see a quick execute here. Obviously, G2 probably going to play this a lot slower now. Just wait for some information, wait for something to overextend. But Fabriken going to be in a position where they're going to have to try and force the issue if they're still running on bad guns.
And we'll see whether G2 can pick up their first round then of this series. As I mentioned earlier, this is probably Fabriken's best map. Certainly statistically, it would suggest that. But I'm sure G2 are well versed on it as well. I think everyone knows how to play bind now. They know the default plants, they know the executes. It's just about trying to provide something with a little bit different, and of course being confident in your shot. The smokes will come down here on B site, and the push will follow. LATEKS is going to be the first onto site. He does see 2 players there on elbow, so he's going to pop another smoke just to ensure they can push onto site comfortably. But how comfortable is it going to be for the plant? Is there anyone to deny it? No, not yet. The Mixwell gets 1. Will take him down, looks for the second, but gets just dashed out of the way from Hookah. Now it's going to be down to these SMGs on this site here. Are they going to be able to hold? pyth will take down LATEKS, so it's going to be a 4 versus 3 at this point. But the bomb is down. What can Davidp do here? A couple of spray down. Shadow takes down paTiTek, so actually now it's a 3 versus 3. Shadow will take down pyth. This is huge. Meddo gets 1 as well. And now Mixwell, he's got no health, no hope. And I think this is going to be a 3rd to Fabriken unless he pulls out something majestic. But time is running out.
Shadow's going to upgrade that to a Phantom. Again, trying to catch Mixwell's exit over towards the defensive spawn. But again, Mixwell at this point, he's just going to try and save his weapon. Comes all the way back. Everybody else is going to bail through the teleporter and long. So again, a third round going on the board. Fabriken, again, a very quick execute there. As soon as they had any sight lines into B side there, you can see both members of G2 pulling back over towards elbow. At that point, the smoke execute came in.
Do you feel like G2 had to be a little bit more aggressive with their positioning on the B site there, just because they had the rifles to work with, they were going up against SMGs, they almost were a little bit too scared, backing off into elbow instantly, and it allowed them to be smoked off of the site. No one brave enough to push onto the site, try and deny the plant either. That means that Fabriken are going to have way more money going into this fourth round. G2 are probably going to be eco. If we can get this scoreboard up just at the start of rounds, that would be great, so we can keep an eye on the money. But that is not the start that G2 would have wanted here on Bind, and you can clearly see that Fabriken are looking very comfortable here.
They are, yeah. Fabriken, again, like I said, they were more than likely going to force the issue there in that round, obviously due to the way the economy lies and the way their equipment lies. Looks like we have got a tactical pause coming out. Not sure whether play a DC or something, but just in the meantime, like I said, Fabriken, pretty explosive start. Again, no respect really shown on B site in that last round, Dan. It was, like I said, as soon as they caught, they didn't even really catch contact. I guess they had an audio cue of somebody falling back to elbow. At that point, you saw the smoke go down and pretty much uncontested. They just went to play retake and they couldn't really get anything going out of elbow. I think it was ardiis that backed up initially, but like you said, with the investment on the rifles there in round 3, you've got to feel that G2 had to be the aggressors in that situation. But I'm not sure. Maybe there was something we didn't see. Maybe there was something causing them to fall back like that.
Well, I mean, the slows came out, which made it difficult to push up from elbow, certainly, and the smokes made the sightlines very difficult to look towards long. But personally, I would have liked maybe even a push through smoke when you know you've got the rifles and you can do some real damage to the team with SMGs pushing down long. But either way, Fabriken are going to be more than happy with that, and G2 probably going to have the discussion now of, well, their executes have been very fast. How do we slow them down? I think that's going to be the key. They need to be utilizing their utility here to ensure that this isn't possible as we get a first look at the money. And as expected, it is tatters at the moment for G2. It's going to have to be an eco, just a couple of ghosts to work with. No, these rounds are winnable. I mean, I think that's one of the fun things for me when playing Valorant, watching Valorant, is ghosts do so much damage and can be such a threatening force on an eco round.
They can, and again, the tendency is, you know, if you know the opposing team is in a poor economic position, you know that it plays in your favor really to be the aggressor, and obviously the ghost in terms of defense really, you know, open up long sight lines, maybe catching an early headshot or something like that can really slow down a push onto a site. So definitely not anything to turn your nose up. Again, the force of the ghost coming around, Mixwell still having the phantom and full armor as well is a factor to consider. It's definitely not a free round for Fabriken, but it's going to need something big from one of the G2 members to shut down a push here.
Now, something that has been introduced in the latest patch that I'm very excited for, and I'm not talking about the dragon skins yet, don't worry, pyth. Overtime. We've finally got some overtime rules in place, and I guess we've got a little bit of time to chat about that now. We're not going to have that one round where the team that's defending on a favorable defensive site is going to be winning games anymore, and we've seen so many tournaments decided by, well, I'm going to be honest, a poor overtime rule that was there, but now we've got something proper in place, and I'm personally excited for it. I don't know how you feel about it.
Oh, absolutely. Again, there's been some fantastic series we've gone on and ultimately come down to, like you said, luck of the draw, really. You know, if it's a defensive heavy map and it gets decided where your one overtime round is an attacking side, you know, arguably you're at a worse off odds for winning that. And now obviously the ruling being you have to win by 2, it does, and obviously it carries on. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know about you, Dan, but hopefully today we're going to get some double or triple overtime games. That would be fantastic on the first day of competitive, I guess, once the patch is in.
Yeah, I'm very excited for it, especially the fact that you kind of switch 1 for 1. The money resets to 5,000 after every round as well. In the ultimates, you're 4 less than what you've actually than your possible ultimate ability, and that means that we're going to get a lot of exciting rounds, a lot of nerve-wracking rounds. If we were to get to overtime, I'd imagine that it would happen at least once with the sheer amount of like power in these teams, because like these 8 teams are all going to be gunning for this. I think they will all think they have a chance of winning it. Even some of the Turkish teams that we might not know as much about, they looked amazing during the qualifiers. Like, they absolutely slapped through the qualifiers, and statistically one of the best teams Apex is at the moment. So we'll see what they do a little bit later. And then we've got Need More DMs as well, the Hungarian squad that also are pretty much a threat. They're playing off stream at the moment against Apexes, so I think that will probably set the tone for this group. And of course, apologies at home, we are having a technical pause at the moment. As soon as we're back and fixed it, we'll jump straight back into the game. But it means I get to dive into the mind of Hypoc. And I guess we can learn a little bit about yourself. I mean, what's your kind of agent of choice at the moment? What do you jump into when you're playing matchmaking?
I mean, nowadays it's mostly Cypher. Cypher again was one of my first I guess favorites through the beta. Again, I mean, the default for me was always Phoenix. Phoenix was the most exciting one through the beta, but again, I think that comes down to just playing too much solo queue. It's never nice playing somebody that has to synergize when you solo queuing. But I just think Cypher is one of those ones that, especially in the competitive meta we see, it gives you the opportunity to kind of to mix things up on defense. Obviously, Cypher's so much stronger on defense than he is kind of attacking. It relies heavily on kind of that post-plant utility. But obviously, his ability to kind of lock down certain areas of the map and allow for, you know, maybe a push out on B or the opposite site to where he's playing is a really interesting factor in Valorant, I think, and something that we haven't necessarily seen a lot of yet, but I think he's one of the few agents that really provides that possibility for obviously still having information as if a second player is with you with the spy cam.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we see a lot of tier lists floating around from pro players, from fans alike, and Cypher often is at the top tier of a lot of these selections just because of what he does offer. I mean, the compositions and the meta has shifted ever so slightly since out of beta, and like people are still developing and learning as to what's best. And then we had a new map addition, and of course it seems like a new map introduces a new composition possibility. Ascent, you get so much work done with the likes of Sova, and we see a Sova being used on these squads as well. Just so much information can be gathered. But we're back into things, folks. Thanks for waiting with us. 3-0 when we left it, and 3-0 when we're back. So things all sorted and dandy as Fabriken again just trying to do something and work this A site. But there has been a couple of early frags, and Mixwell going down. So it's going to be the man advantage. ardiis gets a decent pick with the Ghost, but Meddo comes around from behind. 3 versus 2. This has been a really good round from G2, considering the fact they've only got Ghosts to work with.
Definitely, yeah. ardiis absolutely doing what we said the Ghost was capable of there. I'm getting a pick off over on A, but again, the entry onto B there means that we're going to see the collapse over. Cypher kind of lurking back towards the attacking spawn here. You can see David's going to try and come through market. Does find a tripwire. I think at this point, it's probably just sensible. Obviously, they've got themselves 2 Phantoms. Whether or not we're going to see him just play for some exits here. Looks like they're going to rotate back towards the defensive spawn. Maybe just hang around U-Haul. But again, difficult round for G2. Again, they've damaged the economy, so it's not a complete loss. They've kind of made them work for it, but like we're going to get anything out here. And actually, David looking like he was going to stack up towards, but not going to take a peek. Fully expecting them to just come down long here. And Fabriken will keep 3 alive. G2 will save 2 guns.
Yeah, I think G2 will be happy with that round. Did a little bit of damage to the economy of Fabriken and picked up some rifles, so they don't have to spend too much as well. And I'm excited for today, if I'm honest, Hypoc, because a lot of the Valorant I've been personally casting has been North American Valorant tournaments, and I haven't seen as much of the European games firsthand. And I'm wondering how Europe is going to stack up against North America when it comes to Valorant. Of course, the fact that we're in a pandemic and we don't get the LAN events, we're just having the online events, we don't get to see necessarily the battle between North America and Europe that we might see. What's your personal opinion? Do you think that Europe stands a chance against some of the titans we've seen over in North America?
I think one thing to consider is maybe the North American meta is maybe developing a bit quicker than the European. And that, again, that just comes down to sheer volume of events and competitive games. So it's definitely something exciting to follow on. Again, Mixwell actually going to find Shadow. He showers there. I'm guessing he saw the 2 stacked up behind him. He's back all the way off behind truck here. The Boombox going to come out. Actually, shoulder peek coming out. Mixwell going to miss that one, unfortunately. But here comes the laps out. Showers here. pyth going to shut down Zyppan. Now Meddo's going to come through and look into lamps.
Things you hate to see if you're a Raze main. Showstopper not even connecting. Don't think it even did any damage. Just whiffed it, and pyth will get another onto LATEKS. So it's just going to be Meddo. He has managed to creep his way into lamps, and I wonder whether they have spotted him here. It does look like pyth is looking that way. Camera is up with the Cypher as well. Smoke comes out, so I think they do have the information. But it's going to be really just him trying to do a little bit of damage to G2, but he's going to walk straight into Mixwell's op, and that round pretty much was won by Mixwell with that early pick. So huge when you can take that man advantage, give the information to your team and say, hey, they're probably going to be coming showers, they're probably going to be trying to work this A site. And it does seem like Fabriken have favored the A site with a slow kind of little push through showers, and I doubt they'll go there again after being picked that early.
No, and rightfully so. Like you said, Mixwell, huge aggressive angle to take actually at the start there, and he gets the information immediately. And again, at that point, Fabriken are that deep into showers, they've got to assume that a rotate's come out from B as well, so they have the information, and they just decide to kind of force on. And actually, Shadow going to shut down Mixwell at Cubby this time on A. So Mixwell again going for an aggro angle, and here you can see, as I was just talking about, the push out from B. This is going to actually, Leo's going to shut that down. The trade will come out from David, but again, this information coming through now. We'll leave David solo on B. You can already see ardiis making the wrap through defensive spawn. Now, actually, it looks like we've got potentially looking for a setup towards Hooker. You can see two members of Fabriken on the minimap over there. We have Meddo still lurking around showers. pyth with the spy cam above heaven. I'm guessing he just saw a rifle there because you can see the ping coming out. That's one of the advantages of the observer here. But now you can see all three of Fabriken stacking over towards short now instead. And I think here we're going to go. pyth actually going to get first contact here. Gets a double headshot. LATEKS, the Zyppan will fall, and Shadow as well through the box. There you go. ardiis shuts down Meddo. Clean hold from G2 over at the A site there, Dan.
Blink and you'll miss it, and that's what one individual player can do in Valorant. That's why I love watching Valorant, is just because those clutch moments can happen. Spray down through the box and through the smoke in the end for the third. But it looked like Fabriken were going to have a little bit of a better chance going into that round after they got the early pick. But G2 opting to be very aggressive defensively on Bind. I wonder whether that's because we've seen a lot of fast executes in the early rounds from Fabriken. So G2 is saying, actually, well, if we show presence a little bit on either side, we can get so much information, and then we can rotate even sooner to try and counteract these early executes. But certainly better now from G2 since that little bit of a pause that came through, and they seem to have been able to reset. Oh, this is going to take a very aggressive angle as well, and that's going to be the early pick for them. Of course, money is not going to be great for Fabriken, so they could do with this round. Shadow's just going to fall back at this point, and 4 versus 5, they're going to have to rethink this push.
Yeah, I'm liking this move from G2 again now. Third round, we've seen them look for some of that information on B long. Actually, the second time we see it pay off for them. ardiis actually getting the pick with the operator here. Mixwell actually going to try and swing round up towards Hooker. Is he actually going to find Zyppan up on the box? That's a fantastic peek there from Mixwell. A little flick upwards onto him, but again, now we're going to see the rotate come out. Meddo going deep in the attacker spawn, looking like he's coming back round towards showers, but Shadow, in the meanwhile, looking for some information on short. Whether or not we're going to see paTiTek. And actually, he does go for a little spray through the smoke there.
I don't know whether he just saw the barrel of a gun or whether it was just a pure guess. Either way, he's done some real damage. I mean, yeah, when the smoke's there and you haven't seen any presence elsewhere on the site, why not spray down? It's very frustrating to get hit by spray down through smoke, but there's Davidp with the rotate round behind, catches Shadow off guard, and now there's just 2 players remaining for Fabriken, who's probably going to be considering trying to save these weapons now. As after losing 2 in a row and it's going to be a third, their money certainly isn't going to be amazing. Meddo's going to be spotted out by the Sova Dart, and there is someone that's come through the teleport.
They're going to catch
him.
him.
They want this gun, they want to take it off him, and Mixwell does. There's the op. It's just going to be 1 player remaining, and the Phantom at least will be saved, but 4-3 and G2 right back into this.
It is, yeah. What a turnaround for G2 already. And again, this aggressive push on B long, looking for this information is a really good way to counter the aggression from Fabriken. Again, they're looking for quick executes onto these sites, and you know, the early aggression on the defensive side actually kind of shuts that down. As soon as they see somebody B long, again, they can rotate 1 more person over. Also, at the same time, if they only see 1 person peek, and no contact on Hooker, it kind of gives away the game plan in a sense. And again, this early aggression from G2 kind of shutting down a lot of these angles for Fabriken on attack. You see the Owl drone coming out this time along short. You see Zyppan hop up onto the box, going to find paTiTek in lamps here. We're going to have a default A execute here towards truck. Mixwell not getting any contact here. Hunter Fury will come out. Gonna catch him once. There you go, Shadow will follow up with the headshot with the frenzy and get himself an operator for his troubles.
This was a weak buy on the side of Fabriken, but they have one player advantage at least, but they've been able to get the spike down, and then post plants are in order. Davidp does have wall. He has a resurrect as well. Meddo is going to be walled off in showers. See Yoma come out from the breach just to do a little bit of damage, see if he can stun anyone. There's 2 picks there for G2. Fabriken down to just 2 members, make that just
David.
1. It's Zyppan. He's weak. He's in showers. This should be so comfortable now at this point. Surely someone just sticks this and the other just faces. And a great retake from G2. Of course, it was a weak buy in the end from Fabriken, but they did pretty well considering they only had 2 rifles to work with, and it was just that one player really getting onto site, getting the pick with the Phantom, and then pushing forward. But now they've got a real buy, and we're at 4-4, all square. And I did say before we started this game, Hypok, I said that there's always a plan C, a plan D for Fabriken, but I wonder whether G2 have kind of cancelled out C and D at this point, and Fabriken have to go to plan E.
Yeah, I mean, it depends just how deep their playbook is, I guess, but it looks like G2 immediately have kind of read into the game plan, and they've got a couple of tricks up their speed. Again, look at this B long push here. The Owl Drone's going down. Davidp's there to follow up. You can see now being forced all the way back into the spawn. Hunter's Fury comes out from ardiis. 2 picks coming out here. pyth and paTiTek will find LATEKS and Leo. Now pyth's going to try and fall back down B long, but this push on B long is paying off for them every single time, Dan.
Just really bouncing off of Sober. Hunter's Fury giving him all the information. Meddo is pushing the smoke, but I don't think he saw that there was going to be a player behind him. He does get 1, but paTi is going to be there to get the trade, and now it's just down to 2 players remaining on Fabriken, and they have to go fast before the rotates can come through. It's all going to be down to Pat. He doesn't get it. Zyppan gets the initial kill, which means the spike can go down here. The rotate's going to come through from the defensive side, and there's 1 player just rotating through short A as well, so they need to keep an eye on their back. pyth is going to give so much information with his Cypher camera here. Does spot that there are 2 players in lamps. I think he saw at least 1, and it's whether he can provide that information to the rest of the team. Shadow has an op to work with, so this should be okay for them, but as I say that, just like clockwork, both players go down at the same time, and another defuse for G2, another round on the board. 5 in a row for them now, Hypok, and it seems like their pushes and their aggression on defensive side is really working out for them.
It is, yeah. Another fantastic 3v2 on the retake, but again, really, really well timed there. Again, they knew the flank was coming from Market. Davidp had to destroy one of the trap wires down there, so they had the information. Looked like Zyppan was ready for it, but David just swings on him, and again, the collapse from the other side of the site as well coming in at the same time. So just really, really well coordinated retake from G2. Again, odds were kind of stacked against Fabriken there, but like you said, 5th round in a row, and maybe some momentum building for G2.
And now we'll see how Fabriken are going to try and counter this. They've seen the aggression, so it's very difficult when you know a squad is pushing constantly down long B or they're pushing through showers. You kind of want to wait for them to push, but as soon as they don't push, then you're going to be just giving away unnecessary information, and you're going to be waiting for too long. As again, G2 will get the opener here. Fabriken, their money isn't great going into this round. That's why we see them on just stingers. Maybe you can find one here if they push together and peek. They are setting up for a B execute, it would seem. Do have a couple of smokes to work with. Smokes do go down here on this B site.
G2 have already got 4 players over here, though. You can see 2 stacked in elbow. Mixwell playing just under glass. He's got the operator ready, hanging into long archways. The smokes are going to come down here. Again, the recon arrow comes down. Mixwell's actually got to break that angle to destroy the bolt here. pyth going to get first contact with Meddo. Shut down Shadows as well. Mixwell going to find LATEKS, and now just Leo. And there you go. pyth will find his 3rd on the round. Excellent hold from G2. Again, stacked up 4 on B side. They're really, really difficult for Fabriken to make anything happen with stingers, but just another textbook hold from G2.
But again, G2 just more than happy to kind of shoulder peek and look for the early frags here. They're not scared. They're not sitting back on the site like they were in the first few rounds of the game. But if you're on the side of Fabriken, I mean, what do you do at this point when you're seeing how aggressive G2 are being? Do you have to just commit to a site early on and go for a quick execute, or can you wait? Can you be patient and look to lurk and maybe catch some of these aggressive players from G2?
I mean, it's unfortunate because again, look at this again. Fabriken set up towards A. This time around, G2 only have 2 over. It's pyth and David over on B site. They haven't looked for the long information. You can see already this kind of counter stack Mixwell already deep in cubby here with the operator. You can see Pat pretty close by. The recon bolt will find them. Actually, oh, they might actually get themselves in. There you go. Leo does find too. Mixwell and Pat will fall. Now Fabriken have control of A site, and that's actually when G2 stacked over towards this side.
Spike down. ardiis does have his sight lines on Shower at the moment, but no one is facing. David is just going to hover in this smoke. Maybe he's going to drop out and be able to find someone. We need to see the first frag going into the favor of G2.
Nice.
ardiis does tag Meddo, but elsewhere Davidp has gone down. And as I say that, pyth and ardiis fall at the same time. And finally, Fabriken put their 5th on the board after losing 6 in a row. But again, it was just down to a little bit more speed, but at the same time being patient enough not to get picked by the op. The drone from Sova was huge there, being able to get the information that they had lost control of short.
Yes,
There was
yeah.
there. Otherwise, they were just going to be walking into their death yet again.
Yeah, it was, and the orbital strike as well, cutting off an angle onto site, and I think that was just one of those rounds that goes down to the element of chaos. There's an awful lot to keep track of there, especially when you've got 2 players aggressively pushed up short. As we can see, Mixwell obviously all the way into cubby now. Like, Zyppan's going to try and find something through Hooker here this time around. See, the molly will go down, covering off the drone. Comes out a telly here, and actually, that does peek off of that as well. So, Fabriken kind of getting shut out of Hooker right now just by Pat on the Brimstone. So, it's an interesting hold here. Doesn't look like Fabriken's too ready to force the issue. Maybe eager to get this 6th round on attack down, but still now the rotate going to come back over towards the A site. Just David and Mixwell over here. You can see the owl drone from Leodeddz coming through. Going to clear out U-Haul. LATEKS going to follow up here. Default smoke's coming down towards truck. And you can see David actually walled himself up above triple. This could be an interesting angle here, Dan.
Certainly could indeed. As Mixwell will find Meddo just creeping around in showers as Davidp also takes down Zyppan. That means that the spike wasn't planted. As Shadow at least will take down Mixwell and get the trade with the op. But with the spike not being down, this round becomes incredibly difficult as LATEKS is going to pick this one up. He will now go for it. Is there going to be the deny? You can see the Sage is around the corner.
Nice.
Decent spray down and the help from Shadow gets his 3rd. And Leo has found himself into showers. Just 1 player remaining from G2. Going to be Pat here. I mean, I've seen him win these. Certainly doable, but you'd think that Fabriken should be able to hold all angles here and make this near impossible for him. Just need to cover the spray down, but the first one is easy onto LATEKS. Unfortunately, LATEKS couldn't move. Gets the 2nd onto Leo as well. And now it's a 1 versus 2, but he is weak and he's not going to be able to do anything too special, but it was a decent attempt. Shadow gets his 4th of the round, and we're 6-6 at half-time. I mean, it looked like in the early stages this was going to be all Fabriken as they went 4-0 up, but then G2 winning 6 in a row has made this quite the first game here.
It has, yeah. That was a fantastic round from Shadow, by the way. Literally single-handedly shutting down 2 denies onto the spike going down. But, I mean, he got a couple of nice kills on the retake there. Looked like, I mean, it came down to 1v1. Unfortunately, it was an HP discussion. Shadow shutting him down with the Ghost. But overall, I mean, pretty well-rounded attacking side for Fabriken. Now let's see how they approach the defensive side. Got a 4-man stack over towards B site here, and actually you can see already on the minimap, this could be a bloodbath down at B long here, Dan.
Especially with flashes to work with as well. This could be all players going down, but David gets the first. LATEKS will trade, and he gets a second onto Pat too. It means they've got a 1-player advantage, and they will more than happily take that. They retreat back onto the B site. But there has been a couple of players that have always managed to work their way onto
made
A.
it through.
Yep, Mixwell is going to be there, but he does actually get spotted out. But Leo, unfortunately, can't do anything with it. So now this becomes a 3 versus 3. G2 moving their way over to A. A is clear as well. So this spike can go down. And it's going to have to be a decent retake from Fabriken. They just need to regroup, get together, and plan how they're going to assemble this execute.
3v3, 2 players coming over towards Showers. You've got LATEKS and Meddo here. See Mixwell playing just to the right side, cubby outside Showers, but I mean, this is difficult. They have 1 player really deep inside defensive spawn right now. Mixwell's actually going to look for an angle towards pipes. And the information is going to come over to Fabriken that Mixwell is nearby. Incendiary going to go out now. The clear doesn't come through. Mixwell will get traded out by Shadow, but he does get 1 pick on the entry. That's pretty huge now. Going to try and tap here. Spycam going to give you information. ardiis gets Shadow. Meddo does trade that out, though. So just in a 1v1 here. Meddo's going to find it. No time for the defuse. That's going to be first round attacking going over to G2. That was close at one point, but G2 killed enough time there that the defuse just wasn't a possibility.
There's always going to be the downside when you commit for heavily to one site like that. Is someone might be able to worm their way through the other site and gain so much information. And the fact that Mixwell was able to get the kill as well. If he had died there, entirely different round, but very confident in his ghost ability as G2 take the first of the second half and now should make that second unless we can see Fabriken do something here with an eco round. Shorties to work with. Want to play close angles and hope they can catch someone off guard. I mean, certainly winnable as everyone is stacked over on that A site. And it looks like it might play into the hands of Fabriken here as well because G2 certainly scouting this one out. Firebolt will tag one of the players, and now it looks like G2 are going to push in. Mixwell will go over the truck here, finds one, can't quite get the second, but yes, he does, just to the spray down as he falls. The third wasn't there, but ardiis is around to clean up LATEKS, and now there's just 2 players remaining for Fabriken. This has been a decent push from G2, especially considering it was such a stack from Fabriken, but unfortunately Mixwell just getting up in their grill and not allowing any easy picks to come from them.
No, for a second, I didn't think he got the second, but
no.
somehow managed to get it as the fadeaway drop-off truck. Managed to finish him off with the Spectre, and now I expect they're just going to look for some economy damage. Pat might not have any idea they're inside here. Or at least stacked as 2. There you go. Zyppan going to fall. There you go. Pat will pick himself up 2 nice little eco kills at the end of the round. G2 will put a second on the board on attack.
Yeah, very confident push onto site, as they should be when you're going up against a team that doesn't have any money. But now we get the rifle round for Fabriken, and they need to make sure they win this one. I mean, it was actually quite surprising in the first half how Fabriken were able to win this round on the attacking side after winning the first 2 with their SMGs and their somewhat weak buy comparatively to the rifle round of G2. And I wonder whether G2 are going to do more of the same, or whether this can be the potential comeback for Fabriken. ardiis just going to use shock darts to make sure that no one's pushing out and getting aggressive like G2 did on their defensive side, and then the owl drone will come out to get information as well. This Sova has been so important on both sides, and I think it really shows why Sova is just an integral part of so many compositions right now. Zyppan gets the first onto ardiis, and now we'll see knives popped for Mixwell, and he wants to get up in the face of the opposition here. He wants to try and do some real damage. It's just going to be 3 members of G2 left. Meddo just hiding in his own little smokes right now, trying to tag anyone through the vent here, but going to work out just yet as Mixwell finds the first onto Shadow. Doesn't quite connect with the second. Meddo takes him down. Can we see the spray down from pyth do something? But Leo says no to David, and it's all down to pyth now, but he has no health, surely no hope. Gets taken down in the first of the second half. Fabriken 8-7. And it was fast, it was furious from G2, but defensively, Fabriken looked a lot stronger there.
Yeah, really unfortunate for Mixwell not to catch the second inside the site on B, but again, as soon as those blades come out, you know they're going to back up. Again, they pretty much get first contact onto site for free. Again, Mixwell opting to kind of clear out elbow, but super unfortunate not to get the second inside for sure there, but good hold from Fabriken nonetheless. And again, you could argue a lot invested into that round.
Certainly money put into it. We'll see how G2 respond now, though. They have rifles. They have an op to work with as well. Mixwell just slowly creeping his way up long B to see if he can get a pick with that one. But there's Cypher cameras and Cypher traps waiting for him. And he has been spotted. I don't think they know that there's cameras here. This is massive. He's going to get a free pick. The flash is there for him. Does get one. Davidp at least gets the trade. But that is a dirty, dirty Cypher camera. One that you'll, I'm sure, be proud of, Hypok, being a Cypher main.
That is a fantastic setup there. The flashpoint coming out from Breach on site. Again, Meddo just gets a free peek into wood there. Recon arrow going to come out. The Shadow does get spotted, but LATEKS there to shut down David. So no kill converted off of that information from the recon bolt. G2 now forced back by the orbital strike. Pat going to try and look for something out of Hooker here. Find a headshot onto backside, just looking for something with the Phantom. ardiis does find Leodeddz elsewhere though. Sky Smoke's going to come out. We have a 3-man push out of Hooker. Now, this is where it looks problematic for Fabriken. 2 on the site right now. Third one coming through defensive spawn. Whether or not they're going to be able to hold this down. There you go, Pat does find LATEKS. Zyppan will trade that out. Fantastic hold. That was actually really, really well collapsed by Fabriken. Again, just buying so much time, forcing G2 into an awkward position. And at that point, it just comes down to a numbers advantage game. They played the trades fantastically there.
Very difficult trying to push out onto B site out of hookah, and all three of them there having to jump out, and they were jumping into Molotovs, they were jumping into smokes, they were jumping into boom pots. It just seemed like everything, every little bit of utility hadn't been used yet by Fabriken because they had that early engagement won by the, well, I've got to say, it was all down to that Cypher camera just giving so much information. And then the other three members who were waiting in hookah didn't have time to join the rest of the squad, as there is another camera being placed on B site. And there is somewhat of a heavy presence at A site. Three members here from G2.
Zyppan just caught a tag through the smoke there. He's going to fall off that position on top of truck. That could be influential here. Ardiis going to follow up with the owl drone. Not sure if they knew they tagged him through smoke there.
Unless they got a sound cue, unless they got a dink, they probably won't have realized. But Davidp goes down to Zyppan. And now the push can come through from G2, but also pyth falls. Mixwell with the shorty in lamps. Is anyone going to push right into his reticule? Does find one, but it's not going to be enough. Obviously, Fabriken will take their 9th round here against a very weak buy of G2. 9-8, and I mean, how do you feel about G2 attacking right now? Obviously, they've only had the one rifle round to work with, so we can't really say too much, but Fabriken certainly have done well to keep them at bay.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard right now to put my finger on it, but it feels like G2 haven't exactly got the explosiveness that Fabriken showed us on their attacking side. And again, G2 did very well to counter it, like I said, with those B-long pushes for information. But Fabriken just seemed to be a bit more, I guess relaxed. They're kind of in a default setup. G2 aren't really giving much away, but Fabriken are literally, you know, letting them onto sites and then just playing really smart angles off of each other and kind of textbook definition of how to hold sites without getting aggressive.
Yeah, they're certainly falling back and going for retakes. Hunter's Fury comes out. Can Leo avoid it? No, he can't because he was tagged. Always so difficult when you're tagged by the bolt. And now Fabriken will have lost a member here, so they will be down one player, and it means that G2 can push through. And as I say that, Zyppan takes down Mixwell. Orbital strike comes through, so Zyppan is going to have to back out. Has to bail, has to go through the teleport. Whereas other three members, they are pushing on stage side. Wall is there available, so now the spike should be able to go down. It's going to be a case of retaking again for Fabriken, but that seems to be their game plan. They are more than happy to sit back. They're more than happy to allow G2 onto the site. We'll see how they actually perform this one. LATEKS is going to be in lamps. The breach ultimate will come down just to try and get any stuns and maybe allow a little bit of a push, but no one pushed just yet. And that's three members in lamps. All three push out. paTiTek gets two. Doesn't quite get the third. Shadow gets the trade, but ardiis is there to clean up. And now it's a 2 versus 1. 3 versus 1, should I say. But Shadow goes find the first. Time not on his side, though. Will he see the one player in showers? Yes, he does, but he doesn't get the spray down. pyth will clean it up to make it 9-9. And decent hold, decent after plants from G2. All initiated realistically from Sova's Hunter's Fury to get the initial pick.
Yeah, I mean, ardiis getting the pick off there was the go signal for G2 to collapse in there, but it was pretty huge. Zyppan actually managed to live through that. He did chuck down a blast pack, boost himself out through the telly, and gave them a fighting chance at a 4v4 retake, but just a really, really good hold. Zyppan had to go all the way through defensive spawn. Again, just a lot of time eaten up waiting for that regroup. The information coming out from the stim beacon getting dropped in lamps as well, Dan. You know, Pat's expecting that peak, and you can pretty much time it down to the T as soon as you see the stim beacon come down there.
Well, here comes G2 again, just trying to focus on this B site. There is a sneaky Cypher camera again just above them if they do move out, and there we go. Information just being provided. I wonder whether they'll spot this one. Meddo seems to have found all these dodgy little locations for them. Shot out just to see if anyone's going to be hiding in cubby, but no one there just yet. And here comes the execute, here come the smokes. Mixwell straight onto the site. Has his knives out and ready and raring to go, but it's going to be Meddo who gets the opener onto Pat. ardiis falls and second gets the two-man spray down. Mixwell at least comes in for the trade. Leo has found his way into the cubby here. Can he do anything? Does get one onto David, and that's perfect. It's going to allow his other teammates to join him now. Just bides time for them. pyth can't do anything from hookah.
Wow.
And just like that, Fabriken hold again. And this B site just seems to be a fortress right now.
I mean, Meddo's done fantastic to get 2 unopposed kills there initially. Eventually, the trade comes out from Mixwell, not from the Blade Storm, but the Phantom. But I mean, at that point, you know, Meddo's done his job. You know, he's bought enough time. He's got two first picks. At that point, it's very difficult because Spike hasn't gone down yet, and Fabriken they can just play angles. They play trades. They got the man advantage, and just a fantastic hold on B site again. Meddo with his Cypher setup here again, switching it up every round. G2 having a real hard time countering that information bought.
Well, G2 trying to get some more information of their own. Again, Owl Drone just heading into B site, and I wonder whether this is a little bit of a fake, because B site's been such a strong hold. They try and send a drone over to that site, and the rest of them go A, but that's going to be maybe a spray down, but no, Mixwell jumps in, and that's what Jets have to do. They have to dash, they have to get in the face, and now Mixwell has a Phantom to work with here.
Oh, Leo.
Can he do anything, though? Does find one onto Leo. At least this is going to be the start of maybe something magical. 1 versus 3. Does have Spike. There is 1 member. Make that 2 members on A site, and the last is going to be the Cypher rotating. LATEKS just has to bide a little bit of time here, but Mixwell's going to actually get the Spike down. He's going to be able to avoid it, and he will be able to smoke and survive. I mean, this is certainly doable. Does have a shorty in his back pocket as well.
I mean, the shorty and lamps. If anybody decides to push in there, he does have 1 cloud burst left as well, so he has got the opportunity to give himself some cover coming in. He does actually take a peek around to the back of triple. Doesn't find too much onto Shadow, but he will actually find the kill there. Does go to the deny, the defuse, but Meddo there to cover it. LATEKS will stick it. Looked a bit hairy for a second there. Shadow did get picked off, and he was obviously playing anchor on backside there to cover that lamps angle. Nice try from Mixwell. But nonetheless, they hold firm for the retake.
If you give Mixwell an inch, he is going to take a mile, and he almost made it work there. Taking down 3 members of Fabriken, but 11-9, and Fabriken edging closer and closer to taking this first map of the best of 3 here in Group A. Of course, 4 teams going at it in this group. Only 2 will be able to move on through to tomorrow's Sunday's knockout stages. But there's the long push that we saw so much from G2, and now it looks like it was tried and tested from Fabriken instead. They did manage to pick 1 member, but the res comes out from Davidp, so we're back to square 1 and 5 versus 5. But I think Fabriken will be pretty happy about that. They've managed to at least get the res popped.
Yeah, I mean, again, the flash coming out from Shadow there. Looked like they were going to convert 2 kills, but luckily G2 able to peel back as soon as they get the audio cue that the showstopper's coming. Didn't do too much damage. It looked a little bit scary for a second. Pat. Oh, and actually Zyppan's in a disgusting angle behind the box. I hate clearing this one. Hate clearing this one. You expose yourself so much to the rest of site just to clear this angle. Hopefully Pat does have somebody stacked up on top of him, and now they're going to get contact through long. That camera's going to spot out. Meddo again getting this information through. Just find 1, 2. Oh my lord. Zyppan gets 2 inside hooker as well, and a 3rd outside on site. What a fantastic hold again from Fabriken on B. The G2 just, they can't catch a break inside B site, Dan.
I mean, they've got the drawbridges, they've got moats, they've got everything. It's basically a castle at this point. G2 just not able to get into this B site whatsoever. It's just they're just being destroyed every time by spray downs, and the information that's being gathered by Meddo as this Cypher has been huge. They just haven't been able to sneak their way onto sites and get that opening pick, because Meddo has just been giving and feeding that information to his team time and time again. But it's whether G2 now say, well, we've been going B, it's not been working, so maybe they're predicting us to go A here, so we go B again.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, right? Meddo's all the way back in defensive spawn right now in the doorway. Blade Storm is popped by Mixwell. He's not going to find anything on site here, so they backed up all the way out. Shadow does find David. Now going to be contact on elbow here. Bike will go down on default. Actually, now Mixwell going to force his way into elbow. He actually runs past the player in the smoke there. Hunter's Fury coming out from Leodeddz. He's going to find 2.
That's fine too. And now it's just going to be no one left for G2. The defuse comes out for Fabriken. It's going to be 13-9. It's going to be the first map going in their favor. Now, we knew Bind was one of their better maps, and they were capable of doing so, but G2 certainly made a match of it in the first half. But the